Hi, as you can see from my message board, future federal jury duty. Yeah, I received a letter on Monday, and when I went out to check the mail, I had seen there was junk mail, and then I saw this envelope, and it had a courthouse name on it, and I was like, okay. And I opened it up, and it said, not a summons, federal jury, and then I started reading it, and it said, it was the future juror participation opportunity. You may be called up in the future. And it was a questionnaire you have to fill out, and that my name of course had been randomly selected like they do every now and then to people. And so they were like, your name's been selected, it's not a summons, you may be called in the future, but it's just a questionnaire that I had to fill out. And I was like, okay. And so they were like, do it online, or call this number and they'll send you a paper one, and you have 10, I think it's 10 days to fill out online, or to let them know you need a paper. And then the paper one's supposed to come in, I think they said within 30 days or something. And so my dad and I were talking, and he said, probably should do the paper questionnaire. So I called him, and he said they're probably already closed, and he said you need to call them. And so I called the number, and according to the paper, they were like, give them your name, do all the prompts. And so I went on there, and it asked me if I was doing the questionnaire to push, whatever number, and I said yes to whatever number it was. And then it said your participation number, which is next to, which is on the envelope. And I said, I put it in, and it said, is this your, the 3 letters of your last name? I clicked the number they said to say yes. And then it said, your questionnaire will be here. They already got your information on the paper questionnaire. And I was like, okay. So I was like, I hope I did that right, because it was so easy to do. I was like shocked. When I was reading, I figured it would take a little bit of time, but it took no time at all to do all the prompts. And I was like, okay. So I'm hoping I did that right, and it'll come in the next 30 days. If not, I'll be calling again and getting them to help me get the paper for it. But because, like I said, it was so easy to call and do. And so after I was reading it, I was kind of a little nervous. I'm still a little nervous about it, because I've never done jury duty before. And so when I saw federal, I was like, oh my gosh. And so my dad, of course, reminded me what I already knew was, very rarely do we have federal cases. It's like rare. And so he's like, just remember, it's rare. They always have everybody, they'll call up people to do, to join in on the questionnaire, and, future, and they'll start, of course, eliminating people. And he's like, it's rare to happen. I think because he was afraid I was going to get nervous and worried. And I knew it too, because I was saying it along with him. It's rare. Because I remember my mom said she was never called up for federal jury. I remember when she was alive, she was never called up for federal jury, and she wasn't called up for jury duty until I think the last 5 to 15 years of her life, that she had gone that long with never being a juror. And then when she did get it, she hyperventilated and asked the judge if she could excuse her from the being a juror, and he agreed. They all agreed with her, because she was trying not to hyperventilate. And then my dad, he got called for jury duty long time ago, regular jury duty too. And it seemed like every month or every other month he was being called. My mom's like, how did he get on their list of being called? Is he like the only one in the area that could do jury duty? And that was during the time she had never been a part of jury duty. And so she was like, I've never been a part of it. And then she got that one time. And then my grandfather, her dad, he did federal jury duty. I can remember once time, and it might have been a second time, I can't remember. But I remember he stayed the night with us, because I think that was the one I was thinking about when we were talking about it. He went for jury duty, and then I think that he came and spent the night because they had been deadlocked on the verdict, and they were trying to figure out how to get it done and figure out how to pick a verdict for it. So they didn't have to be there till midnight, 1 o'clock. They were even talking about like getting them a hotel room and starting them back up the next day. And everybody was like trying to figure out how to come up with the verdict. And I think they finally did. I'm not sure what the verdict was. I don't think he ever told us that information. but they all got to go home, and so he came to our house, spent the night, and then got up the next day and left and went home. And so, because I was thinking there was at least two, and I remember one time he almost had to stay in a hotel. And I want to say, like I said, there was a second time when we were little, because at that time we were like teenagers, early 18, 19, 20. I think the other one, like I said, I want to say there was another time back when we were itty bitty kids, but don't hold me to that one. But he had done federal jury, and so I was like, so I remember him doing that. I remember the second time, like I said, I swear there was the first time. And so I would be the first one, and then my immediate family members to be selected for federal jury duty questionnaire. And so I remember what my dad had said about, it's like it's rare for us to get called up because, like I said, we don't usually do federal cases. It's usually local, county ones. And so, but I was still a little nervous about it. I hope, like I said, I did the questionnaire right, and I hope I hope I did the prompts right to get my paper questionnaire. And when I get my questionnaire, I get it done right. And of course, I know they'll go through and they'll eliminate people based on reasons why they can't be a part of it. And then, of course, if it ever does happen, then they eliminate you once you get there. And that it may never happen, and it may happen one time. So I'm trying not to be nervous or worried or anything like that. But it's kind of a little scary. Cause like my mom used to say, it's like you're a jury of the peers, but then you're part of someone's what happens to their future, on something they may or may not have done. And that was always what my mom was worried about, was what if the person didn't do it, and you're the one who picks what happens to them. So my mom was always kind of nervous about that. And I remember when she went in for hers and she hyperventilated, she said she was fine. She was nervous, she was scared, but she was excited because she had never done it. And then they started talking about, they got to the part where they talked about what, they expected of you, not talking to anybody about the case and to each other and that kind of stuff. And then they started talking about the case. And all of a sudden, that's when my mom said she hyperventilated, when they got to the part about the person that they were doing the trial on. And that's when she freaked. And that's when she asked to be let go. And so I was because she said it started getting in her head about the fact that you're helping choose somebody's, whether or not they go to jail, whether or not this happens to them, and it kind of worried her. And then, in the back of your head, you start thinking, is the person guilty? Is the person not guilty? And then she said she just freaked, and I'm kind of nervous about that. So we're kind of waiting here to see and make sure about my questionnaire when it comes in. This is just, like I said, a future one, possibility, who knows, may never happen, like we said. But I just thought I could do a little video on it. Sorry for rambling for too long. I was trying to think of things to say about it. Thank you for watching. Bye.